Thank you, Lenny. What a great show. It's a great way to start the week, isn't it? I mean, you start off on a Monday morning and everybody's, the weekend's finally over. I don't want it to start. I don't want to get up. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do whatever. But then we turn on our podcast and we get to listen to the legend, Lenny Melnick, give us the nuggets. Great analysis of the Miami Marlins this morning. Good morning to Andrea. Good morning to Clarona, Dale, Doug Boyle, Lenny, Mythical, NYC, Phil Chaplin, of course, Rotorius, Kevin Hastings, Stephen Hart, Tim, Zelmo. Great to see all you guys in the chat room. I'm going to be calling Kevin, aloha from Hawaii, here shortly. Get a little bit of insight on him. I want to talk, first of all, though, let me know, Kevin, when you're ready. I'll be giving you a call shortly. I want to get into this Nolan Arenado talk right off the bat. Last night, it appears, good morning, Phil Chaplin. Hey, we got to get a show. How about one on Tuesday? Let me know, buddy. Let me know about a show on Tuesday, you and me. It's about time, don't you think? We have held the natives restless way too long. And a return of Arnie and Chappie on a Tuesday evening is necessary for the human race, don't you think? So you let me know, okay? We'll do something. 9 p.m. Does that mean tomorrow night at 9 p.m. it's going to be you and me? Aha, that would be a great return. Here we go. Nolan Arenado. The Cardinals seem to be the front runner for Nolan Arenado as of late last night and early this morning. Now, we know last week the Cardinals dealt for Liberatore, the second-rated minor league pitcher in Tampa's system. We know Tampa is a wealth of minor league talent. Liberatore could be a piece going to St. Louis. I got to think, though, there's another pitcher involved here, and I want to give some in-depth to this real quick. The Cardinals, they need to add a star bat, okay? That there's no doubt about it. When you look at the division, the Cubs have not improved, in my opinion. The Pirates have not improved. The Reds have improved. And the Brewers have not really improved. So the Reds, who were last year a lower division team in that division, they're going to be in the mix this year. I personally think the Reds can win that division. The Cardinals need something to infuse, that lineup. Hold on a second. I don't know where the cough came from. But anyway, I hope I got rid of it. And so Nolan Arenado sitting out there, and the Cardinals needing that bat. Ozuna, we still don't know where he's going to land. Which bed will he put his shoes under? We don't know. We do know Arenado in the Rockies. I think he will be moved. And so here's the play. If you get involved with Arenado, and you're the Cardinals, first of all, financially, they can afford his $234 million remaining on his contract over the next 7 years deal. Okay. St. Louis has long-term flexibility. They only have 3 players, Goldie, Michaelis, and Paul DeJong, who have guaranteed contracts beyond next year. That's it, only 3. Now, we know Arenado, I don't know why I'm coughing. Wow. We know Arenado has a no trade. So he's got to give permission to go to St. Louis. But reports I'm reading is that he has a lot of desire, respect, whatever word you want to use, for the Cardinals. He's also friends with Paul Goldschmidt. That's a big factor. They won 2 gold medals together on Team USA and at the 2017 World Baseball Classic. Did you know that? So he's got this friendship ongoing, long-going with Goldie. And so there's the interest on Arenado's part. There's the financial ability on St. Louis's part. And now the question is, who are the puzzle pieces that the Redbirds would send to Denver. Well, what about Matt Carpenter? Now, I know we talked about Matt Carpenter on a show, I think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I got some dissenting views on Matt Carpenter. I get it. Last year was an incredibly bad year for Matt Carpenter. We know it was his worst major league career season ever. He posted a 726 OPS over 129 games. But the Rockies, they are enamored with Matt Carpenter. And Carpenter can play both first and third in Colorado. And a change of scenery for Matt Carpenter from St. Louis to most hitter-friendly, Coors Field. Now, Carpenter has a no trade for 20 and 21. But his no trade does not take effect until opening day of this season. And his current contract includes a $1 million trade assignment bonus that would apply anytime between now and the start of the season. It's $1 million. That can help in the trade. Carpenter is owed $39 million through this year and next, and a buyout club option for 2022. Now, if the Rockies would be asked to assume all of the money left, Colorado's probably going to want multiple controllable players to go along with Matt Carpenter. Now, the Cardinals may not want to give up high-end prospects unless Arenado waives his right to opt out after 2021. In other words, why would St. Louis want to give up high-end prospects like Liberator, for example, if they're only going to have Arenado for 2 seasons? So it gets a little tricky, right? So there may be more guaranteed money needed for Arenado to waive his opt-out clause. There's a price to pay for everything, right? So that's a little tricky part of the financial dealings. Now, we got players to think about. If I am the Rockies, the Cardinals, obviously you're sending Arenado, one of the top, 5 offensive players and defensive players, the top defensive player probably other than Matt Chapman at the position. You're going to want some major league ready talent back in return. And if you're a Colorado Rocky, what's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow that you've always been searching for? It's a starting pitcher, right? It's a starting pitcher. So what about a young pitcher like Dakota Hudson? Dakota Hudson. It's unlikely that St. Louis would deal Jack Flaherty. Do we agree on that? Even involving Arenado. But maybe not Hudson. Maybe they would deal Hudson. And what would be the Rockies' interest in a Dakota Hudson? Hudson had 16 wins last year. And I know you don't chase wins in reality or fantasy. But he did have 16 last year. He had a 3.35 ERA over 174 innings. So what's not to like, right? Well, maybe a couple of things. First of all, did you realize that last year Dakota Hudson led the majors in qualifying pitchers with 86 walks? And can you imagine if he were to continue the walk bugaboo in Coors Field? Ugh. Also, he had a 1.58 strikeout to walk ratio, the worst of any qualifying major league starter in 2019. Now, you guys who owned Dakota Hudson in fantasy last year, you know exactly what I'm talking about because I owned him in one of my leagues. It was nightmarish in that the number of walks the kid would issue. But certainly, Dakota Hudson would have to be someone young, great potential, Of course, if I'm the Rockies, I want Jack Flaherty. Don't you? I mean, don't you want Jack Flaherty? But let's move on beyond that. If the Rockies then accept prospects instead of major leaguers, here's the obvious choice to me. It's third base prospect Nolan Gorman. He's St. Louis's number 2 prospect. And, of course, the Cardinals could flip Matt Liberatore, their number 3 prospect, who they just acquired last week from the Rays in the Jose Martinez, Randy Arozarena trade. Now, those are just some options. Okay? History-wise, the last trade between the Cardinals and Rockies of major significance, December 2005. Not big player names. I mean, there's no history of ongoing trading between the two teams. But it does look like the Cardinals have now emerged. Okay, so what about the Dodgers? Well, you know, the Rockies have got to be hesitant, don't you think, to deal Nolan Arenado, a top 5, top 10 player certainly, in all of Major League Baseball, to an interdivision rival. You're going to face him 19 times a year. And so, though the Dodgers, I think, could put a package together, I think this is the one time you get rid of Gavin Lux. I mean, they've said, we're not going to trade Gavin Lux to Cleveland for Frankie Lindor, but if you could get the terms right where Nolan Arenado, you buy him out of his buyout option, opt-out option, a little more money, but if LA can do that and keep him more long-term, I think you go with the Gavin Lux deal if that's who Colorado wants. But the Dodgers have pitching talent as well. You got May. They could send May over in a package. You got a catching prospect. The Dodgers have a lot of pieces that they can put in a puzzle and send, but then again, is Colorado going to want to deal with the LA Dodgers in their division? What about the Yankees? Estevan Florial. You've got a Garcia, the pitching prospect. I mean, the Yankees, to me, make a lot of sense. You can package up players that the Yankees could send over to Colorado, including Miguel Andujar. The Rockies could then rethink what they're doing here. They could say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make Andujar our first baseman. We're going to move McMahon or Rogers over to third. Because let's face it, Trevor Story has become a fixture. He's going to be the shortstop. Brandon Rogers, a lot of talent, but he could play third base. And so if you make that kind of adjustment, and Andujar could be your first baseman, or I think he's better suited anyway. I don't think anybody has doubted Andujar's ability to hit the baseball. The questions have come, can he catch it? And in Denver, Colorado, you can very ill afford to have a defensive team out there that can't grab the ball. You got to play the glove because there are going to be enough runs just on base hits. But an Andujar, Garcia, maybe a Frazier, it makes sense on a lot of levels for the Yankees to go get in on the Arenado deal. Plus, if you're the Rockies, you only see the Yankees, at most every third year in interleague? At best, a World Series, which, do you really think the Rockies and the Yankees are going to be in a World Series anytime soon? I don't see it. Maybe the Yankees, but not the Rockies. So you're not going to have Nolan Arenado haunt you in some fashion that he could if he's playing for the St. Louis Cardinals, or